In this tutorial, we are going to learn about Json. Json is not any programming language to spend months to learn this particular thing. It is nothing but it is just JavaScript object notation. Okay, before learning what is Json, first we have to understand what is JavaScript objects, basics of JavaScript objects. We should know how to access JavaScript objects data, how to use array of objects, how to access that particular data. Once you learn that basic concept, then Json will be very useful to you, and it is nothing but it is just a text based format. Okay, here I am having this definition. Json is used to send data between computers as it is text based format, so it is very easy to send the data from one computer to another. It is language independent and Json can be used with any programming language, and it is a text format for storing and transporting data. We are going to learn completely about Json. Before that, let's understand what are JavaScript objects, then we are going to move on to Json. Now here I have created one folder, Json tutorial. Inside this I am having this index.html and script.js. Inside index.html I have written this basic boilerplate of HTML. Inside this I have just changed the title. I have written one h1 tag, and here I have linked JavaScript file. Now here you can see this is the output. I have this Json tutorial, and here I have just opened this console to check the data. Okay, to check the output I have just opened this console. Now here inside this I'll just write one comment. I'll just write here JavaScript objects. Now below this I'm just going to create one object. I'll just give my object name as data. Inside this we will be writing this key value pairs. So first I'm just going to write here my name. I'll just write here my name. Next I'm just going to write here place. Let me just write here Chennai. And finally I'm just going to write here color. Okay, I'm just passing here key value pairs inside this object's color. I'll just write here green. This is key and this is value. Okay, values will always be closed in double quotes inside objects, and name will not be closed in single quotes or double quotes. Okay, we have to write as it is. Now if I want to print Chennai inside my console, so I'll just write here console.log. Inside this I just want to get Chennai as my output. So to access objects we have to write object name dot this property name. I'll just write here object name is data dot I want Chennai as my output, so I'm just writing here place. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I got the output as Chennai. If I want my name, in the same way I'll just write here object name dot, I'll just copy this my name property and here I'm going to paste. Again if I want color, I'll copy this and here I'm going to paste. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I'll be getting the entire output. Now if I just do here, I'll come here. If I just write here console.log only data, I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see that is going to return me entire object, and inside that I'm having my name, place and this color. Okay, again I'm having this individual values Chennai, Khanam and green color. Okay, this is how we are going to access object data, object name dot property name. Whatever property we are having, we are just accessing that one. Okay, now let's see JavaScript arrays. Now here below this I'll just create one variable. I'll give my variable name as array data. In JavaScript, arrays will be closed in square brackets, and arrays are nothing but arrays are used to store multiple values. Now here let me just write some colors. I'll just write here blue. I'll be writing here green, and here I'll just write orange. Now array data can be accessed. Array will be having index number, so index number starts with 0. Blue will be having 0th index, green will be having 1 and orange will be having 2. Now to access this data we have to use index numbers. I'll just write here console.log. This is our array name. I'll just copy this one. I'll paste it here, and if I want to print orange, okay, now this is 0, this is 1 and this is 2. So inside the square brackets I'll just write here 2. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I got the output as orange here. Okay, this is how we are going to print array data. Now in the same way I'll just write it 2 times. First I'll just write here 0 for blue color, 1 for green color and 2 for orange color. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see blue, green and orange. Okay, all the colors I got. Array data can be accessed using the index number, and object data can be accessed using dot property name. Okay, this is how we are going to access objects and arrays. Now if I just write here array name, I'll just write here console console.log and my array, I'll just write array name, array data. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see entire array I'll be getting and the length is 3 here. Now if I open, you can see I'll be getting the length as 3, and here also inside object I'm having all these values, color, my name and place. Now we have seen how to access object data, how to access array data. Now let's see how to access array of objects data. Now here I'll be writing one comment. I'll just write here array of objects. I'll just comment this entire thing. Now here array of objects is nothing but inside this array I'm just passing this objects as the index number, as its array value. Okay, like this we are going to see now. For that I'm just going to create one variable. I'll just give my variable name as array objects. Okay, you can give anything, array objects. I'll just open square brackets and inside first index I'll just pass this object. I'll copy this entire object and here I'm going to paste that one. Okay, this will be having the 0th index inside array. I'll just separate using comma. Again I'll just paste the same thing, copy this one. Here I'm going to paste. I'll separate using comma. I'll just paste that one. I'll just change the names here. I'll just write here Ria. Here let me just write here Mumbai. Color let me just write here yellow. In the same way I'm just going to change here. I'll just write here Seema. I'll write here Bangalore. And finally let me just write here purple. Okay, now this is nothing but array of objects. Inside this array I'm having this objects. Okay, inside this array you can see I'm having this objects. So arrays will be having index number. So this will be 0th index, entire thing. This will be first index and this will be second index. Okay, inside array we are going to access using index number, and inside objects we will just access dot property name. Okay, now let's see how to print this one. I'll just write here console.log. Okay, first I just have to write this array name. I'll copy this one. Here I am going to paste. I just want to print Bangalore in my console. Now this is my second index because this is 0, 1 and 2. So inside square brackets I'll just write here 2 dot. Okay, because now I have to access objects. Now my value is inside object, so I have to write this dot property name. My property name is place. I'll paste that one here. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see the output is Bangalore. If I just want to get this one yellow as my output, I'll just copy the same thing. I just have to write here array name. My index number is 1 and my property name is color. I'll just paste that one. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I got the output as yellow. Okay, this is how we are going to access array of objects data. Okay, whatever index number you want to access, dot that particular property name. Okay, this is all about array of objects. Now let's see another example. I'll just create one variable data, and inside this I'll be passing object, and here inside this key, and now here I am going to pass array. For this key I'll be passing the array as my output. I'll just copy this entire thing and here I'm just going to paste that one. Okay, this is my key and this is my value. In place of value I have passed one complete array. Now here let me just write here my name. We have to separate using colon, and here I'm just going to write here Khanam. Okay, inside this object I have passed this array as its value. Now to access this one, I'll just write here console.log. Okay, I'll just write this object name dot place. Okay, we have to access objects using dot this property name. Now this is nothing but this is holding array. Now I want to print orange, so this will be 0th index, this will be 1 and this will be 2. So place of 2. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I'll be getting the output as orange. Okay, this is how we are going to access array of objects, and inside objects if we are having array, okay, this is how we are going to get the data of that particular input. Okay, this is the basic knowledge you need. Once you understand this one, then you are ready to work with Json data. Okay, now I'll just comment this entire thing. Now let's come to Json. We have already seen that Json syntax is syntactically similar to JavaScript object. So here we have seen JavaScript objects will be having key value pairs, and values will be closed in double quotes, and keys will not be closed in double quotes or single quotes. And here we just have to separate using colon, and they are closed in curly braces here. Okay, now once we have seen this one, now let's see about Json. Now here I'll just write the comment. I'll just write here syntax. Okay, Json syntax. Now below this, Json syntax will also be having key value pairs, and in Json, keys as well as values will be enclosed in double quotes, and also they will also be having curly braces. Now let's see an example. Now here I'll just I'll write my variable name as Json Data. Json Data will be having curly braces. Inside that we will be having key value pairs. So keys will also be closed in double quotes. Here I'll just write here my name, and values will also be closed in double quotes. Okay, this is how we are going to define Json, and they are going to be separated using colon. If I want another data, I'll just separate using comma, and here I'll just write place. Again I'll separate using colon, and here I'll write Mumbai. Okay, this is how we are going to write Json. Okay, this is the syntax of Json. We just have to separate both keys and values in double quotes. We have to separate keys and value by colon, and each pair we will be separating using comma. Okay, this is my first value and this is my second value. Okay, this is how we are going to get Json. Okay, Json is nothing but it is just a text format. This is looking like object, but this is not actually object, and we will call it as a string format. It is completely string. Now before moving how to access this Json data, let's understand how many data types are present inside Json. Okay, here I'm just going to write the data types. I'll just write one comment, data types. Okay, first data type is string. Second, we are having integer. Next, we are having object. Object is also data type in Json. Next, we are having array. We are having Boolean data type. And finally, we are having null data type. Okay, these are the data types present inside Json. Okay, data types are string, integer, object, arrays, Boolean and null. We are going to see how to pass these data types and how to access that data using Json. Now there are three data types which are not supported by Json. Now below this I'm just going to write here function. Next is date, and finally undefined. Okay, now these three data types are not supported by Json. So first let's see an example of these data types. Okay, now this is my Json data. I'll just copy this one. I'll comment this one. Now let's see what is this string data type. Now whatever example I have written this one, okay, this is nothing but string. Strings should always be closed in single quotes or double quotes, but in Json we are always closing in double quotes. Okay, now this is nothing but string. Okay, this entire example belongs to string data type. Now let's see an example of integer. I'll just copy the same thing. Now here I'll just separate using comma. I'll be writing here number, and for this value I'll just give here 10. Okay, numbers will not be closed in single quotes or double quotes. We are just going to write like this. Next we are going to see about objects. Objects we have already seen. I'll just copy the same thing. I'll just separate using comma. I'll just write one name, color, and inside this I'm going to pass another object like this. I'll be writing here color 1, and for this color 1 I'll be giving here green. I'll separate using comma. I'll be writing here color 2, and here I'll just write here black. Okay, inside object, okay, inside Json, inside this particular name I'm passing another object as my data. One by one we are going to see how to access this one. Now if you notice here, we are giving object, we are seeing about object data type, but here we are passing the same data, same syntax as Json, because key is also closed in double quotes and value is also closed in double quotes. But while passing objects inside Json, that objects will be having the same syntax as Json. Okay, even name should always be closed in double quotes and value should always be closed in double quotes. Okay, like this only you have to pass objects in Json. Now next we are going to see about arrays. Here in the same way I'll just remove this. Okay, I'll just separate using comma, and here I'll just write here data, and inside this square brackets I'm just going to pass arrays. I'll just write here Khanam. I'll be writing place as Mumbai and color as green. Okay, inside this name, after separating using colon, we are just passing this arrays. Okay, values in Json can also be arrays. This is string, this is number, this is object. Okay, this object will be having the same syntax as Json, and this is nothing but array data type. Okay, we have already seen about arrays and objects. Now next we are going to see about Boolean. I'll just copy the same thing. I'll just separate using comma. I'll just write the name as completed. For completed I'll be giving the Boolean value either you have to give here false or either you have to give here true. Boolean is nothing but it will be having two values, true or false. Okay, this you should not close in double quotes or single quotes, because booleans are nothing but 0 and 1. If you close in double quotes, that will be behaving as a string. So boolean will be having 0 or 1, true or false, only two values. Okay, this is all about boolean. Next we are having null. I'll copy the same thing. I'll just separate using comma. Null is nothing but the value which is empty. Null is not 0, value which is not defined. So we are just giving the data type as null. Let me just write one name here. I'll just write here book. I'll separate using colon, and here I'll just write here null. Okay, these are the data types. Okay, rest all I'm just going to comment. I'll just comment this one. Now these are the data types present in JSON. Okay, this is string, this is number, this is object, this is arrays, this is boolean, and this is null. Okay, these are the 6 data types present in JSON. Now one by one we are going to see how to convert JavaScript object to JSON, how to convert JSON data to JavaScript object. So let's get started into the course. Now this is the basic thing. We have already seen about this one. Now here I'll just write one comment. I'll just write here storing data. When it comes to storing data, the data should always be in such a format that it should be easily accessed and it should be easily readable by anyone. So text is best format to store any data. So this is where JSON makes it possible to store JavaScript objects as text. Okay, we have already seen JSON is nothing but it is just a simple text based format. It allows us to store JavaScript object as text. Now here in JSON server, when it comes to server, JSON is mostly used to exchange data between server. Okay, it is going to send data to server, it is going to get data from the server. So whenever we are getting data from the server, the data will always be in the form of string. Okay, the data will always be in the form of string. I'll just write here string. So now this string, if we want to convert into JavaScript object, then we should be having some methods to convert this one. We are having one parse method. We will be writing like this, json.parse. Now this is going to convert JSON into JavaScript object. I already told you, whenever we are receiving data from the server, it will always be in text format. So to convert that text format into JavaScript objects, we will be using this json.parse. Now let's see an example of this. And you should always make sure that data received from the server will always be in JSON format. Only then we will be able to convert that data into object. Now here I'm just going to create one variable. I'll just give my variable name as data, and here I'm just going to write JSON data. Here let me just write here my name, and here let me just write here Seema. I'll separate using comma. I'll just write here place, and here I'm just going to write here I'll just write here Chennai. Okay, this is nothing but JSON. If you are storing JSON in separate file, then always JSON file will be having .json extension. Now this is nothing but JSON. I'll just do console.log. I'll just print this data. Now here this is nothing but this is text format. So once I do console, I'll just write here backticks. Okay, that is nothing but template literals. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I'm getting this JSON data. Okay, my name, Seema, place and Chennai. Okay, name and values are closed in double quotes. Now I just want to convert this into object. So to convert into object, I'll just create one variable. I'll just write here object data. We just have to write here json.parse. Now inside this we just have to pass this JSON variable. I'll copy this. I'm just going to paste that one. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Okay, I have to do console.log. I'll just copy this console. Here I'm going to paste. I'll just copy this object data. Here I'll just paste that one. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see it has been converted to object, and here I am having this output. This is nothing but this is simple text format, and we are converting that text format into JavaScript object using json.parse method. Now here suppose you are just thinking, if I just write here my name, I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see here I'll be getting this undefined here, because this is not object. This is just a text. So we cannot access using object name dot property name. We can access this property's name only when it is converted to object. Now here in place of this, if I just write here my name, I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I'll be getting the output as Seema. For JSON we are not going to get any output, but for object we are going to get output. So we should always convert JSON data into object once we receive the data from the server. Okay, this is all about json.parse method. This is going to convert JSON into JavaScript object. Now here we have already seen that, okay, we cannot use date as the data type in JSON. Dates are not supported in JSON, but what if we are having dates inside our objects? Now how to handle that one? Now here we are just going to write one comment. I'll just write here parsing dates. Now here I'll just create one variable. I'll give my variable name as text, and inside this I'll just write some data. First I'm just going to write here my name. Okay, I just have to write here double quotes. I'll just write here my name. I'll just write, let me write here Ria. I'll separate using comma, and here I'll just write here date of birth, and inside this I'll just write some random number. I'll just write here 12/3. I'll just write 1990 something. Okay, random numbers I have just written. Now this is nothing but this is JSON data, and inside this I'm just passing this date. Okay, this is actually not date, we are just passing the date as a string. Now here I'll just close this using backtick so that I'll be passing as a string here. Now once I have passed this one, I'll just do let. I'll just write here object data. Now I have to pass this one, so I'll just write here json.parse, and here I'm just going to pass this text. I'll copy this, and here I'm going to paste. I'll save this, and now if I do console.log, and inside this I'll just pass this one. I'll copy this variable. Here I'm just going to paste that one. I'll save this, and now if I refresh this one, now you can see inside this object I'm having this my name, and here I'm having this date of birth, but the date whatever I got the output, that is in the form of string. Now how to convert this one? Okay, how to convert into date? So to convert that date, first we can just pass like this, and then later on we can just convert that using new date. Okay, once you passed as a string and once you get the output, now suppose if I just write here object name dot dob date of birth, I'll save this, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I got this date of birth, but it is in string format. Now I'm just going to convert into date data type. So for that I'll just create one variable, and here I'm just going to write here date data, and inside this I'll just write this new, and here I'm just going to write here date, and inside this date I'll just copy this entire thing. I'll copy this one, here I'm going to paste. Now if I just do console.log, and inside this I'm just going to pass this variable. I'll copy this, I'm just going to paste that one. I'll save this, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I'm getting this date format. Okay, this is how we are going to convert, okay, strings into dates. Okay, first whatever you just pass the date as a string, once you pass that one, you will be getting the output in object format. Once you get in object format, you just give this new date, and whatever data in whichever object property we are having the date, just pass that one inside this date function. Once you pass that one in whichever variable you have stored that one, just print that one, and you will be getting the date format as your output. Okay, this is how we are going to handle dates in JSON. Now let's see, now we have seen how to convert JSON data into object. Now back again how to convert JavaScript object into JSON. Okay, now this is how we are going to convert JSON data into object using json.parse. Now to convert JavaScript, I'll just write here JavaScript object into JSON. We are having json.stringify. I'll just write this one, json.stringify. We are having the stringify method to convert JavaScript object back into JSON. Now here, let me just copy this example from here. I'll just copy this one, and here I'm going to paste. Now I have to convert into objects, so objects will not be having this double quotes for name. I'll just write this object console.log, and inside this I'm just going to pass this data. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I got this object. If I just want to access place, I just have to write here dot place. I'll save this, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I got the output as Chennai, because in place I have the value as Chennai. Now this is the JavaScript object. Now if I want to convert into JSON data, so we have to use this one, json.stringify. Now here I'm just going to create one variable. I'll just give my variable name as JSON data. Now here we have to write json.stringify. Inside this I'm just going to pass this one. I'll copy this one, and here I'm going to paste. I'll save this. Now if I do console.log, and inside this if I just write here JSON data, I'll save this, I'll refresh this one. Now you can see that data object is been converted into JSON. Now here in place of this, if I just write here JSON dot place, I'll just write place. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I'll be getting undefined because text cannot be accessed using dot property name. Only objects can be accessed, and I got the output as Chennai for this, but here I will not be getting the output. This is how we are going to convert JavaScript object into JSON data. I'll copy this example and here I'm just going to paste that one. Now here I'll just separate using comma, and for this I'll just give here today's date, today, and here I'm just going to write here new date. Okay, this kind of things we can't pass in JSON. Okay, we have already seen dates are not supported in JSON, but in objects we can pass these dates like that. I'll just do console.log, and inside this I'm just passing this data. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I'm getting this object, and inside this I'm having this entire date. Okay, this date is printed inside object. Now to convert that using Stringify, I'll copy this entire thing. I'll just come here. I'll copy this entire thing. Here I'm going to paste that one. I'm just converting that into string. Okay, now this object I'm just converting into JSON. Now if I do console.log, I'll copy this one, and here I'm going to paste. I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see that date is been converted into string. Okay, this is how we are going to convert date into strings. Now we all know we will be having one local storage in our system. So we are going to see how to store the data inside that one and how to retrieve the data from local storage. I'll just write one comment: storing and retrieving data from local storage. Okay, now for that I'll be using object. I'll just write here, I'll just write my object. Inside this I'm just going to create one object. I'll just write here my name, and here I'm just going to write here Khanam. Next I'm just going to next I'll just write here place, and place let me just write here Chennai, and finally let me just write one more property, that is color, and for this color I'll just write here green. Okay, now I have created this object. Now this object I'm just going to convert into JSON. Now we have already seen to convert JavaScript object into JSON. You can see we have to use Json.Stringify method. I'll just create one variable. I'll give my variable name as Json Data. Here I'm just going to write here Json.Stringify. Inside this I'm just going to pass this my object variable. Okay, now this has been converted, this JavaScript object, into JSON. Now this data I have to store inside local storage. So here I'll just write this local storage dot set item. I'll be setting one item. Inside this I'll just write here testing. Okay, let me write here data stored. Okay, this is the item I have set, and inside this I just want to set this one. I'll copy this Json data, and here I'm going to paste that one. I'm just setting this item inside this local storage, and this data I am setting. Okay, whatever data I got after converting this object into JSON, that data I am storing inside this set item. Now here you will be having this applications. Just click on this applications. You will be having many options: manifest, service worker, storage. Here you will be having local storage. Inside this you will be having this file. Just click on this. You can see data stored. Okay, whatever item I created, that is been stored here. This was the demo one, but this is the data we created now, and inside this you can see all the data is been stored. Now you can see the data is been stored in JSON format. Okay, all double quotes, you can see all double quotes, but here I am having this object. This is how we are going to store. Now we'll see retrieving. I'll just create one variable text, and inside this I'm just going to write this local storage dot. Now I have to get this one. So we have this get item. Inside this I'll just pass this variable. I'll just pass this item. I'll copy this, and here I'm going to paste. I just want to get this item from the local storage. Now here I'll create another variable object data, and inside this I'll just write here json.parse. Now this JSON data, whatever I have stored inside the local storage, I am converting into object. I'm just getting that data. This variable, now this is the JSON data, I'm just converting into object. I'll just paste that one here. Now this has been converted into object. Now if I just do console.log, and inside this if I just pass this object data, and here I'm going to paste. I'll save this. I'll come here. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see this is in JSON format inside my local storage. Now when I come to console, you can see it is being changed to object. Okay, this is how we are going to store the data inside local storage, and we are going to get this output in object format. First object we are converting into JSON, and we are storing that item inside local storage. Next, whatever JSON data we are having, we are just converting that into object, and then we are getting this object. Now here if I just want to access this place, I'll save this. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see only place I got. Directly from local storage I am getting this output. Okay, you can store the data inside local storage, and also you can retrieve the data from the local storage. Now if you are aware of XML, then it's fine. If you are not aware, then you can just ignore this one. Later on in this tutorial we are going to learn about XML as well, but in my previous tutorial, in Ajax tutorial, I have explained about XML. Some basics of XML I have explained. Now let's see JSON versus XML. XML is also a simple text based format, and JSON is also a simple text based format. But before, all the websites were using XML to transfer data, but now most of the website uses JSON to transfer data, to get data from the server, to send or receive data from the server. So these are some of the common things which are present both in JSON and XML. Okay, that is nothing but both are used to retrieve data from a server. Both are self-describing, okay, both are human readable. XML you don't have to worry, I'll be uploading separate video related to XML. Both are hierarchical, values inside values. Inside JSON we can store objects, objects inside objects, arrays, okay, we can store multiple values. And also both can be used by lots of programming language. There is no restrictions in using JSON and XML, and both can be fetched with an XML HTTP request. This is nothing but it is an object, and we have already seen about this in our Ajax tutorial. And we have already seen about this in Ajax tutorial. If you don't know this one, then you can just refer that one, but you just have to know what are the similarities between JSON and XML. Okay, if somebody asks you, you can just tell this one, basic similarities. Now why we have to use JSON when compared to XML is it's shorter. Okay, you don't have to write lengthy code. Now it's quicker to read and write. It will be in human readable format, and it is very quicker to read and write. And it does not have any end tag. Okay, once you understand about XML, then you will understand JSON will not be having any end tag, because JSON is similar to JavaScript object, so it will not have any end tag. Okay, like in HTML tags we will be having like end tags like this, h1, and to close this we will be having like this, we will be closing like this. Okay, in the same way in XML also we will be having some tags which will be closing, which will be opening, and which will be closing. And it can use arrays. Okay, we have already seen JSON uses arrays. Okay, these are the basic points comparing JSON and XML. I'll just comment this. Now finally we are going to see how to request JSON data from server. We can request JSON from server using Ajax request. Okay, Ajax we have already seen in our previous tutorial. Now in this we are going to apply all the concepts, and we are going to request from the server, and we are going to display the data. Okay, to request to use Ajax, first we have to create XML HTTP request. I'm just going to create that one. I'll just give my variable name as XHR. Inside this we have to create like this. I'll be writing this XML HTTP request. Now here below this I'm just going to open my JSON file. So for that, either you can use API link, or whatever API data you are having you can just copy and paste. I'll just open this one, fakestoreapi.com, and inside documents I'll be having that link. Okay, I'll just copy this entire link, and here I'm just going to paste that one. Now you can see this is array of objects, and this API is in JSON format. You can see name is also closed in double quotes and value is also closed in double quotes. So this is in JSON format. I'm just going to copy this entire thing, and here I'm just going to create one file. I'll just give my file name as Json Data.json. Okay, we have to give, to store JSON data we just have to write here .json extension. And inside this I'm just going to paste that entire thing, entire data whatever I have copied. You can either open link, API link, or you can just copy and paste that data, and you can open this particular file. Now here I'll be writing this xhr.open, and I'll be using here get method. Okay, this all we have seen in our Ajax tutorial. Using get method I just want to open this file. So here I'm just going to write here json data.json. Okay, this file I just want to open, and here I'm just going to write here true. Through means asynchronous. Asynchronous means, okay, once our function is ready, it is going to execute. It is not going to block our other functions. So here I am just going to pass that one, and here I'll just write onload function. I'll just write here onload, and inside this I'm just going to pass this function, and inside this onload function, now this data is in JSON format. So first I have to convert into object. So here I'm just going to create one variable. I'll give my variable name as obj data. Inside this I'll be writing this one json.parse. Okay, now this json.parse is going to convert JSON data into object. I'll be writing this dot response text. Okay, this everything we have seen in our Ajax tutorial. Now this will be converted into object. Now here I'm just going to do console.log, and inside this I'm just going to pass this one object data. I'll paste that one. Now I'll just close this using semicolon. Now once I come to output, I'll just come to my project. I'll refresh this one. Now you can see I don't have anything inside my console because I have to send this data to the server. Now here I'm just going to write this xhr.send. Now once I send this data, now you can see inside my console I'll be getting one error, that is access to HTTP request, because directly I am opening the file path which is present inside my system. We are requesting JSON from the server, so we need one server. So I'll just come to extension, and from here I'll just open live server. Okay, you can either use live server or you can install XAMPP in your system and you can use that one. Okay, just install live server. Inside index.html file, I'll right click on this, open with live server. Okay, once I open this one, then I'll be getting the output in my console. Now this, if you're not understanding what is this onload, what is this open, what is this XML HTTP request, then please refer the previous video of Ajax, then you will understand about this in advanced way. I have just opened this in live server. Now here I'm just going to inspect this. Inside my console, I'll just increase the size. Now you can see I'm getting array of 20. So you can see entire data has been converted into object. You can see entire data has been converted into object, and here I'm just converting json.parse. Now this json.data is having JSON data, entire JSON data. I'm just converting into object. So once I convert into object, now I can just access that one. Now you can see my output is nothing but it is an array of objects. So arrays can be accessed like this. I'll just write the index number 4 dot, I just need title. I'll just write here title. I'll save this. Now you can see whatever title I am having inside array index 4, that title will be printed. This is how we are going to convert JSON into object, object into JSON, and this is how we are going to request JSON data from the server. Okay, if you want to run, if you want to send request, then you should be having one intermediate, that is nothing but a server, then you will be getting the output. Json.parse, it is used to convert JSON into object. Json.stringify, it is used to convert object into JSON. Okay, just refer this one. Okay, whatever concepts we have learned here, use that concepts in your projects, implement your knowledge, and you will definitely going to master JSON. Okay, try using different APIs, access data of different APIs and display the data in your browser. Then definitely you will get what JSON and how we have to use JSON, how to handle JSON errors, everything you are going to master one day. Okay, that's all for today's tutorial. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.